What's up, Alabama fans? If you haven't already, make sure you guys are subscribed right here to the Alabama Football Report. We're, 20 days away now from Alabama kicking off, and we're inching closer to that 18.5 thousand subscriber mark. We only need 57 people to hit that subscribe button on today's video to help us out. Man, we're 20 days away, like I said, from our Alabama watch parties. We kicked off last night with our Bengals watch parties. Had a lot of fun there as well. So don't miss out, guys. Hit that sub button for me right now. Coming up on today's show, we're just going to talk about yesterday's scrimmage a little bit more. You know, we did a video yesterday, just kind of got a little bit of information, but since we did that, a lot more information has come out from insiders, in particular Nick Kelly from AL.com, wrote a very good article just about a bunch of things that happened during yesterday's scrimmage from some people who were actually in attendance for the scrimmage, so we're going to break that down on today's show. Some of it is a little bit of the same of what we talked about yesterday. Some of it is not. So we're going to break that down for you on today's show. The first, note that I want to talk about, continuing on with that Jalen Milroe trend, it seems like he is getting better and better. More confidence is coming to him. He's starting to make more of the right decisions, which is definitely, a very positive thing, to hear when it comes out of this, it was the first scrimmage yesterday. Probably got one or two more to go here in the next couple of weeks before the season really kicks off. This is what Nick Kelly of AL.com wrote about Jalen Milroe from the people that were actually in attendance for yesterday's scrimmage. He said, Milroe has displayed noticeable improvement per multiple onlookers. A common review for Milroe is that he is progressing and looks more polished. One way he has improved his decision-making. Milroe sounds to be making better decisions in the throws he makes, how he gets rid of the ball, and how he runs the offense. Now, look, there's been a lot of just, negative stuff out there about Jalen Milroe. Not from me, but there are a lot of people still out there that doubt Jalen Milroe and whether he can be quarterback one for this team. Look, I think we need to slow down. I think we need to trust the process a little bit more. I think with Nick Saban retiring, a lot of things that he said in the past 17 years has just gone in one ear and out the other for a lot of people. So, being quarterback for the University of Alabama takes time. And look, Jalen Milroe, from what he did last year, he was still pretty damn good for a first-year starter. There's not a lot of first-year starters out there for Power 5 teams that are going to take you to the college football semifinals and be one play away from beating the eventual national champions. Now, he's going to have to improve on certain things. It's going to be, reading some of those intermediate passes, getting rid of the ball early, taking off, and just being more confident. I think, everything that we've heard about Jalen Milroe in this offseason, how he's been a leader for the team, I think he's going to be a whole lot better than he was last year. And, last year wasn't even that bad at the end of the day. So I have faith in Jalen Milroe leading this team, and I'm super excited to see what he can do with Kalen DeBoer's offense. And some of those guys that we'll talk about here a little bit later, especially those wide receivers, Alabama's going to be electric on the offensive side of the ball. So I want to hear from you guys in the comment section of today's video. Has your confidence level in Jalen Milroe gone up throughout the offseason? I know there's been a lot of content out there that really, makes me want to drink the Kool-Aid for Jalen Milroe, so to speak. So let me know in the comment section. Type Y for yes or N for no at the pinned comment. I think one of the most exciting things that we've been seeing, not just at the scrimmage, but also just in fall camp in general and some in the spring as well. Man, these freshman wide receivers are really, really going to be hard to keep off the field, I think. In particular, both Ryan Williams and Caleb Odom. We saw, Caleb Odom came in as the number 2 tight end in the country. Almost immediately, they switched him over to that wide receiver position. Ryan Williams, he's supposed to be getting ready for his senior year of high school right now. So the fact that this kid is really showing out, as a freshman in college, like I said, he's supposed to be a senior in high school. That is super, super impressive. Ryan Williams yesterday having another really big day. Another, bomb from Jalen Milroe for a touchdown. We saw some reports that, it was a long touchdown pass, about 50-yard touchdown pass. And we also saw some pictures out there, some videos out there as well from the university. And Caleb Odom, man, if you guys haven't seen it already, go to my Twitter page, at Chris Chat Sports, and look at the video that we posted yesterday from Alabama football. There's a catch in there from Caleb Odom going up one-handed on the sidelines. I think he mossed Jalen Mbakwe. But you can't really fault Jalen Mbakwe for that because, this kid is absolutely huge. He's a mismatch problem. And with what Alabama has at the wide receiver position, I love the starters that you have. But my God, it is going to be hard to keep guys, like Caleb Odom, like Ryan Williams, like Rico Scott. We saw some highlights from him as well. It's a real shame that Jalen Hale is going to be out this year, but I really think that you have a lot of guys. Bubba Hampton, Amari Jefferson. There are so many guys that can be really explosive for Alabama this year on the offensive side of the ball, particularly in that wide receiver room. I cannot wait for the season to get started because I want to see these guys screeching down the field with a ball in their hands, making plays, just scoring touchdowns for Alabama all year long. Another thing that we want to talk about is the right tackle battle. Kind of seems like that battle is particular to the right tackle spot. That left tackle battle seems to be, Caden Proctor's pretty much got that one wrapped up himself. You got Elijah Pritchett, you got Wilkin Formby. One of those two guys are going to man that right tackle spot for Alabama this year. And whether that, shakes out during this fall camp, if someone can be the winner, I think it's going to probably go at least a few games into the season. We'll see what happens, but this is what Nick Kelly also wrote on that right tackle battle. He said the right tackle competition remains ongoing with Elijah Pritchett and Wilkin Formby. They're still rotating. Meanwhile, Caden Proctor seems to have earned that left tackle spot back after he rejoined the team this summer. That became clear during the practice viewings open to the media this past week. Now, I think your interior is pretty much set. You got Tyler Booker at left guard, Parker Brailsford there at center, Jaden Roberts right there at right guard. I think you're going to have one of the best interior offensive lines in the country this year. I think Caden Proctor's really going to improve from last year. It's honestly going to be hard not to improve because, I give him a lot of crap. You guys have heard me, talk about Caden Proctor last year. I think a lot of that had to do with, Alabama wanted him to pack on a lot of weight. This year, he's looking a lot leaner. I think that's going to help his athletic ability a lot. And then Elijah Pritchett and Wilkin Formby. I thought Elijah Pritchett looked pretty damn good in the spring game. Same with Wilkin Formby. Now, I think Wilkin Formby might have a little bit of an edge, and that's just my gut feeling because he did, during the spring game, work more at that right tackle position. Elijah Pritchett worked more at the left tackle position because you didn't know if you were going to get Caden Proctor back, what was really going to happen. Sure, he said he was going to enter the portal and come back to Alabama, but, you can't count your chickens before they hatch. So they worked Elijah Pritchett more at that left tackle spot during the spring. So I do think Wilkin Formby might have a small little edge at that right tackle position right now. Today's show is presented by Game Time. You guys, I love the summertime because Major League Baseball is, they're getting down to it right now. They are getting down to the playoffs, and I love going over to Atlanta, supporting the Atlanta Braves because that is my team, and I know a lot of you Alabama fans are also Atlanta Braves fans as well. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer you get to first pitch, and with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest prices guaranteed, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. And look, Alabama games, like I said, are about 20 days away now. You can also get tickets to see the Crimson Tide in action. They don't just have sporting events. They have football, they have basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. You can even go see Tom Segura the day before Alabama kicks off against Western Kentucky at the Tuscaloosa Amphitheater. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Check out GameTime.co for last-minute tickets. Terms do apply, but again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. One of the other position battles that we've been talking so much about is that cornerback spot. Look, these next few scrimmages, I think, are really going to be important for those corners who are battling for that, CB2 spot on the other side of Damani Jackson. This is also what Nick Kelly wrote about, the update at that cornerback spot. He said the cornerback competition seems to be ongoing as well. There's Deshaun Jones, the Wake Forest transfer, who's the experienced option. He's got a lot of snaps played in college football so far. Then there's Zabian Brown, a talented freshman who has generated buzz and received praise. Can Brown's potential move him past Jones? Maybe, maybe not. Both seem to be the top two options right now for that cornerback spot opposite Damani Jackson. Meanwhile, freshman Jalen Milroe is trending in the right direction as well. He's showing promise already. So that, for the most part, is nothing we didn't know already. We already knew Zabian Brown and Deshaun Jones were going to be really the top two guys for that CB2 spot. And personally, right now, I think Deshaun Jones, he's got that experience, so I would probably put him out there first. But if Zabian Brown or Jalen Milroe can get out there and really make a name for himself, prove to the coaching staff that they're not making, those just dumb decisions, busted coverages, things like that, there is a chance that those guys can get out there and play for Alabama in some meaningful time this year. Also of note, Zabian Brown is still, hindered a little bit. He's got that cast on that left hand. Coach DeBoer, he addressed it last week, said it really shouldn't be that big of an issue, said it should probably, he'll be back to 100% probably this coming week. So just a little bit of a note there on Zabian Brown. But I also still love seeing Jalen Milroe getting some love as well. He was also one of those just super talented freshmen coming in, played quarterback in high school, and he played on the defensive side of the ball. Just a super overall athlete that I think, if he gets the chance, I think he's probably going to make the most of it. But for right now, I think at that cornerback 2 spot, it's probably Deshaun Jones and Zabian Brown. But let me know in the comments section of today's video right now, guys, who do you think is going to be the starting cornerback running out there first snap of the season for the Crimson Tide alongside Damani Jackson? If you think it's going to be Deshaun Jones type DJ, or if you think it's going to be one of those super talented freshmen type FR, and just let me know which one you think it's going to be. Is it going to be Zabian Brown? Is it going to be Jalen Milroe? Or maybe even Zay Mincy gets an opportunity out there as well. So let me know in the comments section of today's video. Another thing we want to discuss on today's show, LT Overton really getting some hype from, yesterday's scrimmage from those people who were there. And, in the spring, personally, I thought LT Overton was probably going to be the starter at that Bandit position. But, as we've worked through the summertime and into the fall now, kind of seems like Jamarian Latham was getting a lot of hype as well. But LT Overton is still there at that Bandit position, really pushing, they might even do some rotation stuff, depending on down and distance, whether that's Jamarian Latham, whether that's LT Overton, or even possibly Keon Keeley at that Bandit position. This is what Nick Kelly wrote about LT Overton and that Bandit position. He said LT Overton is a name to watch. The Texas A&M transfer is expected to be one of the top players at that Bandit defensive end spot for the Crimson Tide. It sounds like he made some plays on Saturday in the scrimmage. If he can consistently provide pressure, he could prove disruptive for offenses. Now, one of the things that we heard from Kalen DeBoer yesterday was the fact that the defensive line got some decent pressure, especially when the third offensive line was out there. But I'm super excited for this defensive line. I don't think there's a ton of question marks on it. I think you got a lot of talent there, especially with Tim Keenan, Tim Smith, Jaheim Otis, and whoever's going to man that Bandit position. I think you are pretty solid at that defensive line spot. I also want to jump over and talk about the tight ends as well. We saw in some videos C.J. Dupree got, had a nice catch. And one guy that I really want to talk about as well is Josh Cuevas. Josh Cuevas coming over as a transfer from Washington. He's looked really good as well. I think Josh Cuevas has a lot of, ball hawking ability. I think, he's a guy that's going to be able to play really well with the ball in his hands. I think both him and C.J. Dupree, really when it comes to those guys that are going to be catching passes for you next year from that tight end position, I think those are going to be your main two guys. I still like the other guys in the tight end room with Danny Lewis, with Robbie Utes, but I really think at the end of the day, these two guys are going to be your pass catchers. And I think in this Kalen DeBoer offense, they're going to get more opportunities than they have in the past under, Nick Saban-led teams.